boys. It's a mod.
And this your boy Vance B.
And this week, Vance and I did a little deviation like we do every once in a while. This week, we are doing another B sides. We felt like we was wanted to. We've been doing album after album after album after album, and now it's time to just jump in, tune in, see what's going on with the world. So we have our topics of the current happenings. I will also say hit us on social media. We also the chat is up, so if you're on here live, you can type in. You can also email us talking points whenever we do our B sides. You can email us at record report podcast.com and just send us stuff, send us suggestions for the next B side. Vance, how you feeling, man?
I'm pretty good, man. I'm doing well. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here, you know, hustling and surviving. You know what I'm saying? Thugging and striving. Good times.
Ain't
Um,
that the truth?
yeah,
Ain't that
yeah,
the truth?
yeah. A lot of shit going on in these news streets. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit going on. Honestly.
Man, speaking of it,
Yeah.
I guess we got to start with the damn
Yeah. With the
the
biggest
Puff
news.
trial, man. The Puff trial. I've been actually
God.
thinking about it. I want to hear your thoughts on all of this. So I'm not a news reporter. You are more in the news world than I am, so probably you can run it down better than me. But I have been following it. This was a freaky dude, man.
Yes, he was.
This he was a
Yes, he was.
wild man, bro.
Yes, he
Me and my
was.
wife talking about it. It's pretty crazy the stuff that he was accused of. Um, and
Yes.
I think Kid Cudi said it best, and he was like, "Yeah, he was just standing around like he was a Marvel villain." And I said,
Yeah.
"That's what I thought reading about all of this stuff." What was your take on it? Just going through all the stories of the past week and a half now.
For a while, I knew a lot about Diddy's discretions because there's a
Hmm.
book that came out a while ago that one of our professors told us to read about Diddy's, progressions. Of course, at the
Really, it's the Mark Carey book.
yes,
Yep,
yes,
Deal
because
with the
not
Devil. My brother told me about it.
yes, yes, because I actually heard about it from your brother
Hmm.
later on. And I was like, oh shit, like okay. So I knew a lot about Diddy's discretions beforehand, but we didn't necessarily have legal bindings that confirm some of these things. And now we're actually getting a lot of these details. Also,
Yeah.
I heard about Cassie's relationship. Now she didn't dig as deep into the details because there's only so much that she could reveal after leaving Diddy.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
the man, her fucking week testifying was brutal. And
Wait,
even
wasn't it 2 days? Am I tripping? Was it two
it's
days?
up.
Was it longer than that?
It's been 2 weeks.
No, for
No,
her testifying.
her testifying was a week. So I think
She didn't have a full week. I don't think.
she was there only for a week. Only for a week.
I
So
don't think she
that
had a
was
full week. I think she just had 2 days.
yes. She only had a couple of days.
Two
Excuse
days?
me.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but
okay,
I'm
cool, cool, cool,
saying this
cool.
the first week to confirm it.
The
Yeah,
first week,
it
got it. Unless
the
she meant
first
like she
week.
was testifying the whole week. Oh, that's
No,
brutal.
no, 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 no. Yeah, that is very brutal,
That's
especially
brutal.
since she was very pregnant. But yeah, she
Hmm.
testified, and even in those couple of days, like the details about their relationship was harrowing. I liked what the
Hmm.
prosecution was doing when they were trying to focus more on how this relationship was related to the racketeering. But man,
Hmm.
it was not looking good for the prosecution, despite the fact that it seemed like they had one day that they were actually getting shit, they had shit in line. It was specifically the day where Cassie admitted to saying, oh, well, not admitted to saying this, but she texted Diddy, and the text was revealed that she likes what was happening if it was mutual. But
Hmm.
even throughout the testimony, she was saying a lot of that shit was not mutual, and it felt more like a job
Hmm.
instead of it being a relationship or a fight for his love, because he
Hmm.
was also not only probably dealing with other women, but specifically I think Kim Porter. I think that let me make sure I
Yeah,
get the
on and
name right.
off. Yeah, he on and off getting
On
pulled.
and off, yeah. And
Hmm.
even when she died, like I don't know if they were still in that they were still together. Oh no, they weren't. It was still around that time that Cassie and Diddy were kind of, separating. And when she died, he was still talking about her. So it kind of seemed like that was still an ongoing thing in the midst of their relationship. And
Yeah.
even in the text, she said that she feels like she's more of a girl, a kind of like a side chick for his fantasies than an actual girlfriend or something
Mm-hmm.
more than just his side thing. And aside from the relationship in the several instances of abuse that she's faced against Diddy that was testified in the court case, there was also a lot of relations to the business itself
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to specifically how she actually, got to know Diddy and got signed to Bad Boy, and also how he was kind of in charge of her music at one point, and then also the things that she did, the actions that she made while a lot of these things were happening, and how these things were related to the record label. Um,
Yeah. I
so
mean,
yeah,
he had a lot of power over her. You know, she was in a 10 album deal
yeah,
when she was 20, 21.
yep.
And I
No, she
know based
signed at
on
19. I think. Did you
she was
sign at
19,
19?
something like it was young. It was in that age range.
Yeah,
And I think most people probably thought she was actually signing a record deal, but over time, like, they could change to something more. And it sounded like from all of the testimony for the past 2 weeks that he would often be like, "Hey, I will ruin your career and release these tapes." Um, and there's some really just really awful shit. And I don't want to lean. I don't want to go after like recall every single thing. You can go on YouTube or whatever and like read it or listen to it. Someone else, some people far more educated on the law than we are can talk about this.
yes,
I
yes,
will say one thing that was really upsetting, not upsetting, because I kind of expect this level of idiot idiocracy that we live in. Motherfuckers was giving Cassie the blues for testifying. From first and foremost, she was subpoenaed, just like Kid
right,
Cudi was subpoenaed. Stupid ass young thug.
right,
They had a federal subpoena saying you had to testify. Yeah, they cooperated, but you don't want to smoke with the federal government when they call you to
right,
testify.
right. Especially
You see what
this
I'm saying?
federal government.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So the federal government they had to testify, and I think the people was like, "Oh my God, Cassie was enjoying it. She was this, she was that." She said she enjoyed it, but I'm like, bro, if she said she enjoyed it on one thing, but the next joint she said she's not enjoying it, why can't both things be true?
right,
In
right,
both things, if someone's is so when she said she was enjoying it, let's just take it at face value. Yeah, sure, she's right. Boom, boom, boom. But when she tells him repeatedly that she is not enjoying it, that she wants to get out of it, and then he would start threatening her, why does that not get the same level of analysis as people was giving like, yo, I feel so sorry for her husband. I'm like, you stupid motherfuckers, you don't think you talked about this first?
right,
Shit was pissing me off. I was really getting upset. Like, I can't believe these motherfuckers got the same. I'm trying to stop cussing as much. These idiots have the exact same agency that we have to say stuff. Like, I don't know, man. It was really frustrating. It really sad to see the scrutiny that she got is more than the scrutiny he is getting, especially around men. So it was really upsetting to witness. And he's. I want to love to hear your point about this. Your thought about this. I've been thinking about this a lot. Like talking to my wife about this because she knows someone that's moving up in a position, and sometimes people can just tell her. Sometimes people change when they get like a new position. You ever been around somebody and it was cool with you, then they get promotion, and now they like a drill sergeant. I'm like, yo, we was just
we were
doing
just in the
stupid stuff
trenches.
out. Like, you know what I mean? We were just doing
Yeah,
stupid stuff, and now you got
yeah,
the title, your flow is changing. I think power does change people, and I think it also like emboldens whatever stuff you got on is not checked. I think, man, just my own psychoanalysis situation. I think Puff was is trying to be in an escape mode
yeah,
from whatever he got at all times, and I think the money, none of the other stuff makes him happy. I think the power that he gets from the situations is something that he does. I think he just reacts off that, and he's always high, just based on what they were saying. Always high, always inebriated, and always very, very, very confrontational and violent to protect this escapism that he enjoys and controlling people. It's
yeah,
sick, man. And you would think with that much money, you would go and get some help, but it's not how power works.
yeah,
It's not how power works. So
yeah.
it's really sad, man.
It is. It is. And to your point about to your point about I guess this whole situation at hand, I just think the fact that we do have such we have multiple generations that see on the other side and don't really see the women's perspective, and the fact that they're testifying the truth in court.
Mm-hmm.
You can go to jail for lying on the stand. The fact that they are telling the truth about this, and the fact that you're going the other direction and saying, "No, these things aren't true," or they trying to hold down the black man, like you doing this shit for the wrong person. Like a lot of these things have been testified in court has been said in the streets for a while. If you want to bring it to the streets, but now these things are being confirmed, and now you want to be skeptical about it, you know. And I just feel like it's unfortunately a part of this patriarchal society that we actually have, and the fact that a lot of guys are mad at women. There was one specific thing, and ironically, I got this source from Mr. McMahon, the WWE film. There was one
Mm-hmm.
scene that really was uncomfortable for me to watch, but it made me like I learned something from it, and it was specifically how Vince McMahon and the crowd during, I guess, a recording of Raw, like a live show, um, they they kind of stripped down this woman in more than one way, and specifically the commentary for it was about how a lot of guys feel like a woman who might be happy or who might be successful or more successful than them, they feel inferior to that. And for that, they try to strip those things away from them and strip their achievements and their success, their happiness,
Mm.
strip those things away from them to bring them down to their shitty level and make them feel that same way in order for them to feel equal. And
Mm.
they use that commentary to explain that scene. And for me, it was uncomfortable, but I learned because we see that now with a lot of this just gender war shit, and a lot of this content currently. Whether it's the guy talking on the street saying, he feels confident, he brings in good money, he does all these man roles, or like other cases, you might have women say that niggas ain't shit, and I'm just being right.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. You do have good women, and you have good men that don't believe that shit and trying to find their own journey in this world. But when you got a lot of this noise happening, it eventually affects you, and we're seeing how honestly this idiocracy is playing a role into this court case to kind of
Mm-hmm.
bring anything back into perspective. And I think aside from the details that we are seeing in this case, even with the assistant that recently testified this week, like,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this is
Capricorn
gonna be
Clark.
old. Yes. Like even with some of the stories that she has about how Diddy talked about how she couldn't get a man and told Cassie to come in and sit down and stand up and like do all of this shit. And that's why you can't get a man because you're controlling. Unfortunately, there are niggas in this world that believe that that's how women should act. And that's fucked up, man. And just like Diddy, you need help, nigga. You need help. You need fucking help. Read
Yeah,
a book.
yeah, and
And you also
also
need help.
they also need accountability because you listen to these stories, nobody is like telling like, "Hey, yo, chill, man." You
Right.
just hearing all these people like D Rock was Biggie's man, and D Rock was his name keep coming up. D Rock, D Rock, D Rock. D Rock was Biggie's man. That he been around Puff since through Big. You would think he got some level to be like, "Hey, yo, man, chill out. What is you doing?" Like you would think somebody can be like, "Hey, man, you doing too much." And maybe they did. Maybe they didn't do it in front of people. I don't know, but it doesn't sound like nobody was like checking them. But again, power will do that because he'll tell you, "I'll ruin you." And I'm pretty sure because Capricorn Clark, she said it. He was like, the only reason she went back to work with him is because he stopped her ability to work anywhere else. He like no matter where else she would go, they would say you can't work here or stop the Diddy stuff. She said Jimmy Iovine, so they're like leave that Diddy stuff alone, but I'm not gonna hire you.
Right.
Um, Yeah, like essentially she just got blackballed, and then he was the only one like, "Yeah, I'll pay you a job." He wasn't even paying that much money. I think she said 55K at one point in time, which is like that's not a lot of money.
That ain't
I don't care
shit.
what year it was, especially
Yeah,
you sleeping. You barely sleeping. You working around the clock.
that's average in the
Um,
2000s,
Sure. I mean, she did also get
maybe
a
earlier.
house, apartment, and car,
Okay,
and
so
cell
that
phones paid for it too. So maybe it
okay,
does balance out. But
yeah,
I don't know, man. He has a theme of controlling people, which people like that is I'm not surprised for. Again, the power. I got that power over every part of your life. He run around with guns. I don't know, man. You wish people like that got help because he had all the access and resources to do so. At any point in time, he could have been like, all right, let me get my shit together. Let me, you know what I'm saying? And he never did that, and destroyed his legacy.
yeah, yeah.
He already had question marks on his legacy.
Yes, he
This
did
does not help.
for
This does not help
decades,
for
for fucking
decades.
decades. Like, let's
Yeah,
stop
for
playing,
decades.
bruh. Y'all
Yeah.
like a lot of y'all like, and I'm not. Let me take that back. Let me take that back. A lot of people, because I
Mhm.
don't think our listeners. I think our listeners are a little bit smart, especially if they fuck with us, especially if they've been fucking with us for a while.
This long, right?
So,
You would think so, right? Yeah.
right, right. But a lot of people in this world, they act like Diddy. They have their own transgressions and their own mannerisms that are similar to Diddy. And in some way, they relate to that shit.
Yeah.
You need help, my nigga. Diddy might not be
Yeah.
able to do this shit, but you need help, my nigga. And just
Yeah.
fucking say it. It's okay to say it.
Yeah.
Cause
You're right. It's okay to say it.
but to back to this fucking case, man. Like even the to kind of reinforce my statement about how these things have been talked about before. Kid Cudi's car blowing up. We talked
Hmm.
about that shit since we heard
That was
about it
crazy.
back in 2011, 2010. I'm probably
Hmm.
getting the
Hmm.
years wrong, but
Yeah, it
like
was
we've
crazy.
heard about that shit for a while. And we joked around. Oh, Kid could have got his car blown up. Now we're hearing this shit in court. How is this shit untrue? They've been subpoenaed, right?
Yeah, he got subpoenaed.
So why the fuck? What? Why are we saying that this shit is not true and
I
still cracking
do.
jokes? I
And
digress.
I do wonder if he's going to get off though.
That has been a highly searched topic about whether Trump would pardon them, especially since they
Well,
have a
I
privileged
wasn't even talking about
relationship.
that part. But
Oh,
100,
okay.
you already know you already know his backup plan is like how much it costs. Nigga, I will give you
right,
double that. You
right,
know what I
right.
mean? Yeah. He will double whatever Trump is asking for and just live off. He's
If he
not gonna
could,
sell his. He's not gonna sell his masters, and he gonna find out. He gonna carve out a lane to still be around. He gonna still have money. His money is legal, so they can't take all of it.
yeah,
Them
yeah,
lawsuits might cut into him though, because he's gonna get
yeah.
a bunch of lawsuits. You can't pardon lawsuits. Um, they might hit his pockets like that. But I'm thinking from a perspective of everything they said so much so far. A lot of it is hearsay, and it's just people saying the same thing.
Yeah.
And they're trying to build a case about you was using fear tactics because you was so brutal, this, that, and the third. And I'm sure his defense will get up there and be like, everybody that dissed them, here's positive messages they said recently. Here's like Dawn was on his album that he put out, which I absolutely thought was a great album, by the way. I haven't listened to it since the shit came out,
Yeah.
but Dawn was on that album, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what correspondence him and Cassie had, but I'm sure there's something there's. So I would imagine his defense is going to bring up a bunch of people who was around that same time and was like, he was going through X, Y, and Z. He probably needed got help. He probably had a drug issue, but he wasn't doing extortion, and he didn't. Also, the arson joint, they didn't really tie to him. There's
Yeah.
no evidence tying him to the actual thing.
So
He wasn't there when it was the thing caught on fire. It wasn't the same day they was there. It was a different time. It was in that same time frame, but it wasn't that exact same day that he was there. So
that's actually what they focused on today in court.
yeah.
Specifically, the defense was trying to count. They were trying to call this court case a mistrial,
Hmm.
specifically because they were trying to insinuate that the officer that was on duty was trying to
Mm-hmm.
affect the evidence, specifically
Mm-hmm.
the thumb case that was destroyed, or the thumbprint that was destroyed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they tried to count that as a mistrial, which did not go well. Once again, this shit is in on the internet, so you can go look this shit up. But
Yeah.
yeah, like this, even though they can't connect a lot of the things to specifically racketeering, I think the relationship with Cassie and then also what the sex workers have been saying
Mm-hmm.
are
That's a good
clear
point too.
indications of racketeering because they're talking about specifically the logistics of the freak offs
Mm-hmm.
and specifically I guess this incident is a certain level of wrath or a certain level of a threat that they're trying to focus in on and how this threat was executed.
That's
You
a
know what
good
I'm
point. I can see
saying?
that. I can see that taking them down. Maybe not the
Yeah.
full everything, but at least that part. That's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. We shall see, man. I just I hope people out there get help because it is it
Please
is
get
it
help.
is it is it does suck hearing how he would just be beating these people so brutally, man. And people would just be standing around doing nothing and
Yeah.
threatening Capricorn Clark, saying, he actually it wasn't a threat, taking her to an abandoned house in New York and giving her a lie detector test for 4 to 5 days,
Right.
and telling her that if she lies, she'll get thrown in the East River. Like,
There's a like the shit with Tanya
fuck
Wilson.
is doing?
She wrote that shit and she wrote that shit. She wrote about her
Mm,
experience with Diddy and like there was one cover that he didn't like and she was going to use it and he threatened
mm-hmm.
her. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
she had to call security like and talk to her lawyers and shit. Like this shit is documented. So it's clear that he used like threats and violence as a form of intimidation to get what he wants. You know what I'm saying? But like just like that brother needs help, man. Like if you if you're rocking for this dude right now, despite the fact that there's a lot of evidence that shows that there's something deeper about Diddy that needs to be fixed, you yo, you need to get help, bro. You need to get help.
yeah,
For real.
yeah. Also, I'm also a big believer in redemption, and
Yeah.
if he really wants to get his life together, I hope that he does do the work to do so. I don't
Yes.
know if that's something he actually wants to do or he actually tried to. It
Yes.
does make me call into question all of the brother love stuff for the past few years, like he was trying to clean it up, but that didn't work.
Yep.
And I don't think it's going to get better in the next 2 weeks. I think the next 2 weeks gonna get worse. I think they'll get further inside and inside and just paint this picture of this really unstable, brutal, but violent man who was just doing whatever he want for this time frame. Um, that's a power. The power allowed him to do that. So it's crazy. Speaking of court cases and people
that's a
in jail,
that's a crazy segue.
you brought up in the chat the short guy from Toronto
Hey, with no hairline.
with no hairline. You want to discuss Daystar Peterson? Yeah, his
Wow.
name.
Yeah, that's his government.
You
That's
wanted to
his
talk
government.
about Daystar Peterson and the new developments around his case.
Quote unquote new. You know what I'm saying? All right, specific. All right, so let's break this shit down. A couple weeks ago, first of all, it was in the news that Tory Lanez got stabbed in prison. Um, pretty brutal case. He was stabbed 14 times. Now there's shocking prison video at this date and time that we're recording this. There's actual video that has came out that that shows the moment that he was stabbed. But alongside this, pretty much Tory Lane's lawyers came out about one new evidence in the case of Tory Lanez, um, specifically regarding a ring alarm uh, camera that was used, and two, uh, harrowing and breaking news that the security guard or Tory Lane security guard overheard a conversation that um specifically, and let me get this correct. Uh, Kelsey, the girl that was with Megan Thee Stallion during this incident, was the one that pulled the firearm and shot Megan. Um, Let me be very clear. This is according to Billboard. Both of these things have been used in court when it originally happened. So specifically for the court case that literally sent Tory Lanez to jail and proved that he was guilty, both of these things were actually used. The ring alarm camera was used and it captured the sound of the gunshots, not necessarily what happened and who pulled the firearm. And then number two, what the bodyguard said, he did testify that, and he did. Well, I want to say he testified it, but he did say that to prosecutors and defense. But he was not at the scene of the shooting. That is specifically through Billboard. That's the source. If I get it wrong, go check the source. Correct me in the comments for real, because I don't want to fuck that up. But that's specifically what I read in Billboard when it all happened. What the effect is that now you have people coming out the woodworks and
Mm-hmm.
saying that this new evidence should bring Tory Lanez out of jail, which makes no fucking sense because both of these things have been documented and both of these things have been used in the court of law. And now you're starting to have people try to say that because Tory Lanez is in jail, he was in jail, or he's guilty, and the case that specifically made him guilty is bullshit, and he's a black man in jail. And now you're starting to have Republicans talk about this, which is not really it's not really the ordinary. You know what I'm saying? And it feels like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people are kind of riding with these thoughts because, quote unquote, just like Diddy, the black man he's being held down. Dog, the fact that people are still talking about this case makes no fucking sense. The fact that both Megan's lawyers and Megan Thee Stallion has to come out and say like, why are y'all still arguing about this? And it's kind of like it's kind of hindering her career at
Mm-hmm.
this point.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid, man. We've already been through this before. He's guilty. Why are we doing this shit? It just doesn't make sense. But yes, that specifically was kind of the latest in this situation. Um and then now also the stabber is now talking to media now, according to the root. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a
yeah.
lot of shit going
I
on
actually
now.
hate that thing about this time and when people will do stuff like that. Now they get the microphone to explain their stupid actions.
Yeah. It's
Yo,
so
you,
stupid.
yeah,
You just I mean, I get you in jail and he's in jail for life. So it's like I guess like it doesn't really matter to you, but at the same time, like, bruh, like you coming out to the media after doing the shit, bro, like this is wild. And the video came out, bro, that like, yeah, this is a crazy story. I do hope that brother survives and can kind of still see the next day, but at the same
same.
time, that nigga did what he did. Let's just keep it a buck. He did what he did. That like he is proven guilty in the court of law. Like even with Diddy currently, he still has the right to due process. Let's
Yeah, I
stop
mean,
fucking around, bro.
even the story, even a story that he's trying to give off that he didn't tell to protect somebody else doesn't make sense, and no one is going to listen to that shit and be like, so the person who you barely knew that you weren't even really with, you were protecting her, so that way your defense attorneys never approached this in a way to defend. They couldn't figure out no way, even though you didn't do it, but you know who did do it. I don't know, man. I kind of find that hard to believe. Also, his music is was not that good, and it's so frustrating. Everybody's acting like his shit was just slapping, and he's like a political prisoner, and he's trying to take down. Like, no, he made some bops. He was
Yeah.
popular during the pandemic.
Yep.
He had contagious energy. People really liked him. Drake didn't even get to do songs with him when he was out, and now that's his man. So, um, nah, dog, I don't even. The man did it, bro. And if he
He
didn't
did
do
it.
it, his dumb self put him in that situation to be in that situation. So
Ain't
either
no
way, he's at where he's at where he got himself. So I mean, deal with accountability, dog.
ain't no if he didn't do it. The DNA specialist said that ninety
He did it.
percent
Yeah.
of the evidence was a man that had that motherfucking firearm. That nigga did it.
Hmm.
Like, let's
Yeah.
stop playing. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
stop.
Yeah. I agree. I
It's so
agree. I
stupid.
agree.
Stop being stupid. Like, just please stop.
They
Like,
can't help themselves, dog. My point was, even if your
not our
theory,
listeners.
yeah, I know for sure. That's all.
We
Just
fuck with y'all.
talking in
We
general.
like y'all.
My theory was, even if they are right with that theory that he didn't do it and he's protecting, like, even the whole thing is right, his stupid self still deserved to be in there because that's this dumb way to handle it. And he put
Right,
himself in a situation. That was just stupid.
right.
And
And
then
then
he was on social media making fun of her, teasing her. Like, come on, son. Like, what are we doing here?
you dropping a fucking album and trying to explain your fucking situation, and then even in the
Yeah.
lyrics you talk about how you was trying to holler at
The
Kendall
other
Jenner,
girl,
uh,
whatever.
one of the family. You know what I'm saying? And then but Megan's around and she's the mad black girl. It was so stupid. It was stupid. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it was stupid.
And
It was stupid. That don't make
to
no
a point
sense.
where you have publications saying that, yo, we're not reviewing this album. Like, this is not fucking, like, it's not cool to do. You
Hmm.
got journalists turning away from your shit. It like
Rightfully so. It's the right thing to do.
you need to be held accountable, and
Yeah.
the fact that you're proven guilty only shows that you have, like, now you have to be held accountable for your actions. I do hope that you live. I do hope that you see another day. I do hope that you one
Facts.
day come home,
Facts.
but you got to be
Facts.
held accountable for your actions. And the fact that a lot of you guys are riding for that shit, bro. Like, stop, bro. It's like, stop. Read a book, nigga.
You look
Like, read.
crazy.
Like, go look at actual real publications, my nigga. Like, stop looking at whatever the fuck you looking at now, because this media is not helping you.
I think that's actually one of the issues, man. We don't have good hip hop media. You know what I mean? You used to read the source, and then you be able to draw your own conclusions. You have to read double XL or just read an article, or whatever. Now, like, they go to academics, they go to the streamers, they go to whoever's on the internet, and they most 9 times out of 10, they don't have the journalistic integrity to try to tell the truth. They just out here, whatever makes sense for them to continue to build their numbers up and get their clout going. So they're not
Yeah,
trying to inform people. They're just trying to, like, how do I keep you engaged?
yeah,
Um, so I don't know, man. It's a web that Twitter X is the perfect place for it because it's a cesspool. So it's
yeah,
trash. It's
yeah. It
trash.
is. It is. Like,
Yeah.
that's the. Speaking of streamers, you know what I'm saying? We can go
Yeah.
ahead and talk
Perfect
about
segue.
motherfucking streaming university and shit. You know what I'm saying?
What was your thought on it?
Okay, I will say this. I was locked in the streaming university all weekend. I know I'm the old ass nigga that was looking into the shit, but as a journalist and with journalist integrity, I had to look through
You
several
had to.
videos on TikToks that I really
Didn't
didn't
have a
want to.
choice.
Didn't have a choice, unfortunately. It was a lot of dirty macking happening. It was a lot of ratchetness happening. Granted, these are kids. A lot of
Yeah.
the streamers that were there, they were kids. They were at the
Hmm.
University of Akron. It was it was overall, it was a fun experience. There are a lot of situations that made me ask myself, is some of these situations actually real? Case in
Hmm.
point, DDG throwing a, well, DDG the entire weekend was fucking insane. Uh, he had a relationship with another professor. He kicked one girl out because he found out she was 19. Shit. He threw a party that, wasn't necessarily confirmed, kind of confirmed, because he talked to Casa not beforehand, but then all of a sudden he didn't get the permission and kept going. He got fired, but he was still there on campus for some reason. It was a lot of shit going on with that nigga, bro. I ain't gonna lie. It kind of showed me that, like, and then he had a class. This nigga had a class about internet beef, and then he boxed up
Mm,
one of his niggas in class, like one of the
mm,
students in class. It's a lot of shit going on. But on the other hand, you had another teacher that was actually teaching people like real shit, specifically the YouTube algorithm and how he made money and how he used TikTok as a platform to introduce people to his other YouTube and Instagram platforms, the platforms that monetize. So it
Mm-hmm.
seemed like it was part conference, part overall stream, content stream. And it was cool to see that you had so many people streaming and so many different ways to tap into streaming university through different perspectives. You had one girl that was being made fun of, but she actually made a friend there and they made content together that went viral. It was really cool
Mm-hmm.
to actually see kind of like NABJ, but specifically on the streamer level. And of course, with a
That's a good
younger
way to look at it.
demographic comes a lot of shit that goes with it. Now,
Yeah.
specifically, the whole Casa not shutting down a party thing, I don't know if that was real or not. I don't know specifically if his thing being called a failure was real because the fact that Drake showed up at the end was a little kind of weird for me and a little harrowing. You know what I'm saying? But it seemed like because of the entire weekend and the eyeballs that it brought to different platforms across the entire weekend, I really
Mm-hmm.
think that there is something there. I do think that there are specific mannerisms that need to be approached and checked at the door when it comes
Yeah,
to a lot of the relationships that are there. But overall,
I
it
agree
seemed
with
like
that.
a really cool experience, and it kind of seemed like aside from the many rappers that were there, there was the Jiggy 1 2 stepping on buck, yeah, Jiggy. That nigga was there, and of course DDG being there. There was a lot of rappers and artists that took advantage of it. Um, you also had Drake that came out of nowhere with, you know, thanking everybody for being there and congratulations, you were there and showing up for the after party. It seems like this nigga is trying to get into streaming a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he really he showed his face there, and that also became news as well over the weekend. But overall, uh, if he does it again, then
Mm-hmm.
hopefully it's better to a point where it is actually professional, but
Mm-hmm.
still at the same time a form of content that everybody could look at the same way that it was
You
this
think he
time.
gonna do it again? You think it's worth it?
I honestly don't know because there were
Mm-hmm.
parts of it that showed me that it was stressful. There were parts of it before it actually happened that showed me that people were saddened about the news of them not being in. There were rumors about how a relationship that Kasana had in his earlier streams with this girl kind of
Mm-hmm.
hindered her opportunity to be a part of streaming university. There was a lot of gossip and rumors that floated around that kind of seemed like this was a lot more stressful to him than planned. And
Mm-hmm.
even with the party being thrown, I don't know necessarily if that was real or not. And the fact that DDG was fired and shit like that, I don't know if that was real or not. I don't know if this whole thing was actually so stressful to a point that it was that he's not going to do it again. But
Yeah.
when you look at the success that it brought in and the kind of cultural movement that it had over the weekend for that younger generation, I think that it could be possible that he could do it again.
I wouldn't be surprised if he moved it to a network the next time,
Mm.
just to help split the cost.
That would be dope. Yeah,
Yeah. I wonder
yeah.
what he's gonna do if that was gonna
Like
do it. But
if I
yeah.
will say this, if it was an actual conference and it was like everything was real and there was a certain like if it was like I hate to bring this back up, but the Revolt Summit, like if it was like that but with content and like this new generation and people had to pay to actually get in aside from them being
Mm-hmm.
invited, I think that would be the sweet spot for it because it's a
Yeah.
mixture of being professional, but then also on top of that, you're creating content with people, and there's a certain level of camaraderie that is there as well as professionalism. I think that this was kind of more of a free for all because you had professors fucking each other and like relationships. I was like, what? I don't want to know all this. What's happening in the news? You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm so happy you watched it because I had no fucking clue what you're talking about.
But
I'm so happy to hear you all. You definitely did it. You got to give us condolences to Sasha Jenkins and his family.
yeah, rest in
Sasha
peace.
Jenkins is a famed hip hop writer. I believe he wrote for The Source, XXL, um, Vibe, Essence, a couple other publications. Um, He really was like an elder stations of hip hop, and he helped like usher in that wave of hip hop journalists who actually was journalists. He was a really important factor to like a lot of hip hop ways the culture blossomed in a certain time. So kudos to him and his family, man. Condolences.
Yeah. Rest in peace, man. He's actually from. He was born in Philadelphia, but he lived in Silver Spring, Maryland, which is
Mm.
literally right up
I
the
didn't know that.
street. I'm looking at his Wikipedia, so grain of salt. But yeah, he's so he's DMV bred. You know what I'm saying? He's also the kind of mentor to Elliot Wilson. Um,
Hmm.
I think it's just
It's true.
I think it's I think his death is important because, like you said, there are a lot of people who want to be hip hop journalists, but they're not doing the work and having the same level of integrity that us journalists have to have in this game. And let me be very clear: hip hop journalism is, in some ways, a thankless job if you're not in front of the spotlight. So it is always it is always an important decision to make when you are going to delve into this realm, because
Hmm.
despite the fact that you may have great interviews and the fact that you might have spotlights, you also got to deal with what comes to that in both relationships in real life, as well as what happens in the business world that might affect the people that you work with and work
Mm.
for.
That's a
So
good point.
I do think that as we continue to move into this new era of hip hop journalism and music journalism altogether, I do think that it is important for us to understand what a lot of these former and current journalists bring to the game in popular ways. Not popular ways, but more how should potent ways, in order for us to continue this art form as it as we see continues to be under siege by both an administration as well as just the level of access that we get now. But
Mm.
I do feel like with this loss, we lost a real journalist, and as we
Yeah.
get older, I guess it's important for us not only as journalists but then also as content creators to make music or not music but make music content that is relevant, important, and most importantly informal.
Mm.
um I think that that's important, no matter how entertaining it may be, no matter how wild it's supposed to get. I think that I feel like for this show alone, it's our duty to be informal, to be as accurate as we can, while still being able to be entertaining and make you laugh while you're at work or while you're working out or while you're in the car. So I think with Sasha Jenkins, first of all, rest in peace. I appreciate what you brought to this culture because you did, and you were able to document the levels of culture. And it would be cool to go back to your previous work just to read and find out
Yeah.
how I could be a better writer from your
Yeah.
work. But I also know that with this passing, it's another sign that I and even we as a podcast have to work harder at being informal to the community and to the culture when it comes to this music shit. Because there's so many people that are making money off of not doing that shit at all. And it's annoying as fuck. So we got
Hmm.
to be the right ones to actually keep it informal. And we might not
Facts.
always get it right because we are human beings. You know what I'm saying? Even with technology, shit might not work, but there's a duty that still needs to be held, and we got to do our best to do it.
Mm.
Yeah,
You're right, man. You're absolutely right, man. 100%.
yeah. Rest in peace to Sasha Jenkins, though, man. Legend.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I
Damn.
digress. Let's get into some other shit. You know what I'm saying? Uh,
Yo, did Joey TDE? Did you follow all of this stuff?
okay. I've been catching up on this. I've listened to Ray Vaughn's album, and I also listened to a few tracks that Joey did, and Joey kind of won that shit,
Kinda.
in my
Ab
opinion.
Soul new song is tough. Ab Soul new song is fire,
I did
but I
hear
think
that.
it's
I
kind of
did hear
late.
that. Yeah, I
I think
agree.
it's kind of late.
I agree. I
It's
agree.
kind of late.
Joey was
Yeah,
doing this shit for a whole year now,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he kind of went Super Saiyan in the spring, man. Like he kicked off to another level. There was a lot of filler in between the tracks, you know what I'm saying? But he was still consistent to a point where if he wasn't rapping about this
yeah,
beef, he was still performing. You know what I'm saying? He was still out here in these streets showing his face. You know what I'm saying? He was still talking shit about TDE and these recent tracks. Dog,
yeah. These
even
tracks was crazy.
like Crash Dummies, bro. I was like, oh shit. Oh,
Yeah.
he going hard. But I will say that Ray Vaughn, despite the fact that he might have lost this spar match or this battle,
Mhm.
his album is very good. You know what I'm saying?
I listened to it when he's in front of like the corner store ordering food,
Yeah.
but the cover. I
Yeah.
like I want I use the word like loosely. I like Rayvon, but he does remind me of like a louder Kendrick.
Yes.
Yeah, so sometimes I just be like, I don't want to hear this loud.
I
Dude, rap like
so
he Kendrick, bro.
I did see him live. I think him live shows his differences compared to Kendrick because I think
Mhm,
when because I kind of felt the same way when he dropped that track with Pusha T, which was very dope, but it
mhm,
still kind of felt like you could still smell some Kendrick on it. You know what I'm saying? And I no disrespect to Rayvon, but I think when I saw him live, I became more of a fan because I could see naturally how he performs a lot of these songs, and specifically some of the songs in his set list actually
mhm,
was different from what Kendrick was producing at the time. At the time he performed, I think it was like right before Roots Picnic, so Not Like
mhm.
Us didn't come out yet.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
So
Interesting.
I do think that he does have he still has a journey to go in the rap game, and he still got to find a way to differentiate himself. But I do
Mhm,
think that with the album that he produced this year, it might go it might kind of go under the radar, but I do think that it is a banger within itself. There are some tracks off there that I did take.
yeah,
So
and I trust TDE to figure out.
yeah,
They have consistently done it where they found a way
yeah.
for their artists to be in the perfect lane at some point in time.
Even Absol,
Um,
even
even if
Absol.
so, yep. So
Yeah,
I have faith they do it.
yeah.
Your take on Cardi B's music career is very interesting. Can you explain it a little bit?
Wow, I can't believe I'm so invested in Cardi B. Goddamn. So all right, first of all, I gotta say Cardi B's album, Invasion of Privacy, is still a banger. I still play drip in the clubs. It's a nice little low punch, you know what I'm saying, when I'm trying to get the crowd and shit. But I will say that recently she's been in the news, not necessarily because what she's doing, because
Mm-hmm.
she's actually supposed to be hosting WWE SummerSlam later this year. But she was recently in the news with being with Patriots receiver Stephon Diggs. And
Mm-hmm.
on top of that, they were seen together at a basketball game, and it kind of seems like they're dating. I don't. There
Mm-hmm.
there are other details that I don't really want to talk about in on this podcast episode. You can go look that shit up. But it seems like they are doing something. And recently, this week, to be exact, I don't know when you're listening to this, but this week, whenever this week is, um, Stephon Diggs is going viral for sharing pink crystals
Yeah,
with
yeah, I saw
a
that
group of women. And
on the boat.
they also think that they have a very, very close, intimate, weird relationship with this man. And it looked like there were vibes going down. Now, granted, Cardi was on the same
She
vessel
was on the boat dancing.
with him,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't seem like it was a good thing for him to be on that boat when the Patriots were doing a voluntary practices for players.
Yeah, I agree. He should have been there. You can't be on a boat and then out of the voluntary joints. It's a bad
Yes,
look.
and as we're
Um,
I was gonna say, and
yeah.
as we're recording, to give this all context, as we're recording, they just put out a response to the video and stuff like that. But it also, so that whole situation kind of put Cardi B back into the whole, you know, cultural sphere because they're
Mhm.
dating and him being around all these women and sharing you know pink lemonade crystals and shit. It's a lot of things going on in this sense, but it brought up the very interesting aspect or question that I had for this episode, and that is if Cardi B's rap career is still alive. Now, we do
Mm.
know that she only got one album out, and we do know that that album was very successful and it was also
Mhm.
critically received well.
Mhm.
However, the person that she was dating at the time was also tied to that album.
Mhm.
And aside from rumors of her have like Offset being kind of her ghostwriter, um, she has been able to make music, but she hasn't made another album as of yet.
Yeah, she had to. She's getting verses here and there.
Right. And maybe a couple
Um.
performances here and there. But overall, do you think her career is still alive?
Yes, I think it transferred over to something bigger than music, though.
Mm.
She
How
just did
so?
a she just did a stadium date somewhere overseas or somewhere. I don't know where it was. And the person went. She went there early, and she was like, it was just amazing. So I think that I don't know, man. I think time is changing some stuff as well. And I think that the game is a little bit different. Social media allows people relevancy lasts longer. It's not really too many one hit wonders like it used to be. Um, and people can find ways to be relevant. Like she got the verses, she got this song, she got that song. She reminds me like circumstance wise different, but like where they position themselves and how like the impact was like Lauryn Hill, where her first album,
Mm. Yeah.
and that the impact was so just into everything that it still resonates to this day and with like whatever. I don't know if innovation and privacy will reach that level. Some of those songs might. She got some really thought provoking songs on there.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, but I wonder what that really means for her though. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Now there has been chats or discussions or rumors about her making music in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
As recent as kind of the overall split up, like the official split up between the two.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't one based off of her recent songs, they sound like a lot of what came from Invasion of Privacy. Even kind of like the way some of the beats are set up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it feels a lot like Bodak Yellow or like even WAP in some cases. Like you could kind of see the
Mm-hmm.
same patterns. That might just be because like she might be working with the same producer, which makes sense because if you got a successful relationship, might as well continue on with that. But
That's a
it'll be
fact.
int- it'll be interesting to see now with a form of pain that she has from leaving Offset, it will kind of see how she's able to kind of traject now that
Mm-hmm.
she is free from that relationship musically as
Mm.
well as officially, and kind of
We
finding
shall
out her
see
own
if it's
thing.
better. We
Yeah,
shall see if it's better.
yeah. Because if
We
Caribou
will
can do
find
it,
out.
I'm pretty sure she can knock it out too. But she's still
Uh,
she's still riding off of this influencer type shit, and then also
mm-hmm.
she's been in politics, so it only makes sense for her
Mm-hmm.
to kind of be out of the game as more women continue to compete and shine.
It's
You know what I'm saying?
also it's also no money in rap. Your money from rap comes from the stuff that it brings you, the merch, the
Yep.
tours, the brand deals.
Yep.
That's where the rap comes. The actual like deals coming. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree.
it's
I
different.
agree.
Yo, can we skip to can we do the centers and then can we skip to what we listen to?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, you don't want to do the American Music Awards?
I don't give a fuck about that American music at all. I don't give two shits. So I'm sorry, dog,
Okay,
and I'm about to fall asleep on this motherfucker. And
it's
you
all
gonna talk
good.
about that joint? And I'm gonna be sleep
All
over
I'm
here
gonna,
like we talk
all
about
I'm gonna
what?
say is Shabuzi was right, and
Shout out to
Eminem,
Shabuzi, man. Virginia own.
Kendrick should have won more awards. Okay, now let's go to
I agree with
centers.
that too. Amazing film, man. I'm glad you saw it. We didn't talk about it last time because we had a break in between. But
Yeah.
one of my favorite movies in the past few years. It was great to see in the theaters. So was the Mission Impossible 3. That's a great to see in the theaters too. I'm
Really?
actually happy that. Oh man, I enjoyed it, man. I took my son with me, and seeing him
Oh,
watch Tom Hanks for the first time,
Tom
Tom
Cruise.
Cruise stunts for the first time, bro. He was in there like, yo, that's crazy. And he seen the movie. He seen 1 through 7 at home. I think he did. So seeing that one, he was like, is he really doing that? And I think it just seeing on the big screen makes it feel different.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see him just be like, yo, that is crazy. That's really awesome. It's a great action movie. And that's what I liked about it because the fact that it did something for him.
Yeah.
He really enjoyed it, and I'm like, that's a movie should be doing. So I actually enjoyed Mission Impossible 3. It was a fun movie, action packed, and it's good. But anyway,
You said Mission
um,
Impossible 3,
whatever the new one is, 8, 9, Final
9,
Reckoning,
5 days, the final one.
10, 10,
I think it's 10. I don't know.
10.
But yeah.
Yeah,
Have you played the game back then? I might
yeah. I
be.
remember the game. I told my son about it. The game was fire.
Game was hard, bro. Like I was surprised about how good it was. But
Yeah, me too.
no, that's super dope that you said that. I also love Sinners. It's probably one of my favorite movies of the year, easily. I do
Same.
think that there is a conversation about the use of religion in this movie, and I think that
hmm
the fact that they did use and religion within the black community is important. I also think the music for this whole entire thing was fire as fuck as well.
Yeah, it
Like
was. I agree
it
with
was
that
so
too.
fucking good. Yeah. So I do think that it's a movie, and it also for me as a fan, it felt like kind of like a new coming of the structure that the Dust Till Dawn built. I was about to say
hmm
Dawn of the Dead, but Dust Till Dawn has actually built. So it's actually cool to see like the reverse of that, and
Yeah.
also to see that Ryan Coogler is stepping out into a new IP and
hmm
being successful with that because we don't get a lot of new IPs like that, in
I
more
thought that was
recent
dope too.
days.
One of my favorite things about it was like getting original IP
Yeah,
and get to keep it was
yeah.
pretty impactful.
While
It's a
still
great
having
story.
influences.
It's a great story. I love the Delta blues impact of it. I'm playing like the blues and stuff like that. It was a great. I enjoyed that movie a lot, man. That was one of my favorite movies of the year.
Yeah, yeah. We can go
Um,
into deep about that shit, but yeah, it's overall it was a really dope ass movie. I'm glad I said I do want to watch it again.
Worth seeing if you haven't seen it for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
In the
for
theaters,
sure.
in the theaters
Yeah,
while you can.
by yourself.
Um, by yourself. Oh wow. What are you listening to?
Oh man, I've been kind of all over the place right now. I need to
Same,
grab my phone real quick. Hold on.
same. I can go first. I can tell you. I've been listening to Anita Baker all day
Okay, all
today.
right.
Uh,
You're mine too. Okay.
it might be from the Kendrick concert still because he really used a lot of Anita. Um, listening to Kendrick, obviously. What else I was listening to? Q. I think Q albums Be With You. R&B album came out this year. It was so good, man. I'm still playing it. That was a good one. The
Mhm.
Q joint. A lot of Bodie James. Really
Okay.
enjoying just how he raps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, oh my goodness. That's what comes to mind right now. My phone is dead, so I can't even pull up my shit.
Okay. So I've been listening to because of streaming university, I've been listening to
Mhm.
some Zeddy Will. He got a new track that he sampled from I guess the 2000s, 2010s, like this real underground song, but he's freestyling over it. It's going viral. So I went back to the original track, and it's a wild ass song, but the beat is hard as fuck. It's called. Hold on, let me just make sure I get the words right. It's called Dome Shuffle by
Mm.
STMG Them Guys. I've been blasting that. And I've also been blasting Get Jiggy by Zeddy Well. I do like what this whole new sexy Jersey vibe that the Northeast is bringing. Kind of talk brings back our conversation about regional music coming back. Um, Ninth Wonder, So in Love with You, had that track
Mm.
on play. Lost Comet, I stumbled across this TikTok that sampled his song "Block Walking Whitney." So that shit has been hard. Suave, Off the Leash, been blasting that. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Some Nirvana. I was blasting Nirvana. Never mind. Went back to some Metallica. And then I also listened to Metatron by Gold Link. That is out right now. I like it. I like Metatron. It's pretty dope.
I need to check it out. You told me about it last time.
Yeah, man. It's a nice little vibe. It's starting to get radio play now. I listen to it like in the background, but I kind of want to throw it in the car a couple more times, get some more details, see how that shit rocking. So that's what I've been listening to lately.
Man, great list, great list.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in. Sorry that I'm sounding so low energy, dog.
Yes,
Yeah,
it's late as
two
fuck.
babies kicking my ass, and it's late. Please check out our website, recordreport.com. Follow the socials. It's not Vance B underscore no more, is it? It is.
It's Vance 64 underscore on X, but it's still Vance B underscore on everything else.
What he just said. Boom. And uh, do what you gotta do, man. Send us some ones if you wanted to. Maybe we can get some coffee with it, but also make a
Leave us 5
donation.
stars.
Leave us 5 stars. Leave us some reviews. Share with a friend, somebody you like, or just be like, "Hey, man, I want to talk to you about. I disagree with this point. I did a shitty job on the show. I want to talk about X, Y, and Z better than Weekend.
Please
But
argue
come
with
on,
us.
man. Please, man. Come on. Tell us what we wrong here. Tell us what we
Argue with
missed.
us, son. We
Yeah,
want
have a
them
great time.
comments, son.
Yeah, all that. Follow all the socials. If you check us out, you already know what they are. Yeah, that's all I got. Peace.
Yeah. Peace.